And we're back. And it is episode 45 of What Could Have Been in Wrestling. This week we are going back 11 years ago to 2014. And for this topic, I want to thank my friend Tommy Butler. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter or X at Tommy Butler. Fellow Duke fan, by the way, who will win the national championship, like I said before. But again, I want to thank him for this topic idea. And this week I want to talk about what if AJ Styles signed with the WWE in 2014. Now, if we go back to the beginning of the year, AJ had made his final TNA appearance up until this year when he made that quick cameo because of this partnership they have. But he made his final TNA appearance in that match with Magnus in that title for title unification match, in which, of course, he lost in a highly overbooked match. From there, since his contract negotiations with TNA didn't work out, he went back to taking independent bookings, and then, I believe in March of that year, he finally made his way over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and eventually became the leader of the Bullet Club. Now, if we fast forward to 2016, we know his debut happened the night of the Rumble. Roman Reigns is in the ring, waiting for the next person to come out, and out comes the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. So, what if instead of debuting in 2016 at the Rumble, he debuts 2 years before that? Here's how I think it could go. So I wouldn't want AJ to debut at the Rumble in 2014, to be honest, the one that Batista won. I would actually have him wait till after Mania. Now, AJ had taken, like I said, some independent bookings, and I believe his last one was until late March of that year, so the timelines sync up perfectly. Say AJ has a no-compete clause to go for that 90 days after he leaves in the beginning of January. That would slate him to debut on the Raw after WrestleMania. And I think it works out perfectly. Because what happened at WrestleMania 30? Daniel Bryan tapped out Batista, and he had his moment becoming the undisputed champion in a celebration and crowd reaction that still is probably one of the top 5 in WrestleMania history. From there, the next night on Raw, Daniel Bryan was attacked by Kane, and that was established as his first challenger for Extreme Rules. And obviously, that wasn't the most exciting challenger. It was pretty lackluster because it was pretty obvious that Bryan was going to retain the title, which he did. So instead, if we have AJ Styles in the company, I think things change. For one, I think Triple H can still challenge Daniel Bryan the night after WrestleMania for the title, have Evolution beat him down, only for Daniel Bryan to be saved by the Shield. I'd still want that to play out the same way it did, with the Shield attacking Triple H, Orton and Batista, and of course the match never really kicking off. With that, Triple H can obviously focus his attention to the Shield, and we can have Evolution reuniting. But with that, there'd still be an open challenger left for Daniel Bryan. And I wouldn't want it to be Kane, even if Kane would want a shot at the title. I think Triple H could then, you could actually hold off on AJ Styles' debut on Raw till the week after WrestleMania, so 8 days later. Triple H can say there is someone he wants to endorse as the number 1 contender, along with Stephanie, but it's not Kane. Instead, it's a man who has made his way over to the WWE, and he wants to introduce him now, and it's Triple H bringing out AJ Styles to what I know would be a very big babyface reaction. From there, obviously, AJ would be highly cheered, so I think you would have to debut him as a face. And I think, obviously, this match between Daniel Bryan and, of course, AJ Styles would be contested in a face-on-face environment where the build-up would be, you could obviously have their face-to-face and they could have a contract signing of sorts, but I still think the build-up would be more out of respect than anyone taking the role as a heel. From there, going into Extreme Rules, you can still have the 6-man. I still want to mention the 6-man between Evolution and the Shield, with the Shield winning. But you can also have Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles to close out the show, with Daniel Bryan defeating AJ Styles. Now, I'd want to move that forward because, obviously, post Extreme Rules, Daniel Bryan did leave with the neck injury, and I think it's very possible that it still happens here. And Daniel Bryan would be unable to defend the Undisputed title. That would leave the upcoming pay-per-view, that being Payback, without a title match. However, AJ could still lay claim to being the number one contender, or wanting to get one more chance, because obviously it'd be a back and forth match that people would enjoy. And even if Daniel Bryan still has the concussion issues and the neck issues, he can't partake in the next match. So AJ Styles can obviously pitch it that, hey, since the champion isn't here, the title should be held up, and I should be named the champion, or at least a contender to win it, as when we can crown, and maybe in his suggestion, an interim champion while Daniel Bryan is on the shelf. From there, obviously, with the mounting injuries to Bryan's neck, and with him being out long term, he was eventually stripped of the Undisputed title, which I think would still happen. And with that in mind, obviously, you would still have AJ at the forefront in the world title picture. From there, even though he's still operating as a face at this point, I think you could then have him shift his focus and maybe even hint at a number one contenders match with, of course, the one and only John Cena. So you would still get those two working together like they did in 2016. And from there, I actually think that while the match wouldn't happen, it wouldn't be a number one contenders match. I think that's just something that you could tease for a little bit later, possibly going into that summer of 2014. So if we go ahead and move forward to Payback, I still think the main event could be again, and of course there's a reason I want to keep this consistent, the closeout match would be in that 2 out of 3 no holds barred match, the Shield still taking on Evolution. And the Shield, in my opinion, should still be victorious. Reason being is because, of course, the night after Raw, after Payback, when Triple H still wanted to keep his focus on the Shield, Batista demanded his shot at the title, which he didn't get because Daniel Bryan wasn't there. And, of course, I've documented it before, but Batista quit and gave the Miss America wave, and he was done, and he was off to film Guardians of the Galaxy. I'd want to keep that the same because, of course, we remember what happened later that night. Triple H told us there's always Plan B, and that's when Rollins delivered the chair shot to Roman to start his heel turn and to disintegrate the Shield. But now we have AJ Styles in the company, so I think that actually changes Seth's heel turn. Batista, again, could still quit Evolution and still walk out that night. But instead of Seth Rollins turning heel, I think we obviously can see where this is going. Triple H and Orton can still declare that there's a Plan B as they dare the Shield on the outside to square up and they're ready to go. Seth Rollins can still grab a chair, but instead it could be Seth Rollins getting hit from behind. And it's not one of the Shield members turning on their own, no. It's AJ Styles attacking Seth Rollins. And then it would be obviously Triple H and Orton joining in. Triple H, of course, having the sledgehammer on him. And it would be those three beating down the Shield. And it would be AJ Styles now, the new crowned member of the Authority. So that's how it would play into AJ Styles' heel turn. From there, we go forward, and later into that summer, I know that we had Battleground, and then I think that's actually where, because I believe that's where they actually had held up the title, or that might have been at Money in the Bank, and they had obviously had to crown the new champion with Daniel Bryan being stripped of it. So with that in mind, at the next pay-per-view, you can have it being that AJ Styles still wants to lay claim as #1 contender, and he still actually wants to obviously have his time as champion. He still wants to have his shot at the belt. And with that in mind, I actually don't want them to do the 6-way ladder match they did to crown the new champion. Obviously, that was the time, and of course still now, they love their multi-man matches. But instead, I actually think you can do it where AJ Styles is named the #1 contender by Triple H. And the man he'll be facing for the title is John Cena. And the reason I'd want to do that is because this is how you can actually catapult AJ Styles to being the main eventer from jump. Because just like in 2016 when he got 2 straight victories over Cena, I think AJ Styles in the main event should actually beat John Cena, and he should become the new undisputed champion. And that would actually be at Money in the Bank. I'm sorry. Actually, they didn't have Battleground. I'm thinking 2016, because that's when AJ Styles debuted. But again, AJ would leave Money in the Bank as the undisputed champion after defeating John Cena, which would be a huge feather in his cap. So now we have a heel AJ Styles as the crown jewel for the Authority, along obviously with Orton still there, but I still like that position because if you remember, AJ had an amazing first year in 2016 when he beat Dean Ambrose to become the WWE Champion on SmackDown, and of course he was the face that ran the place, and he was the lead heel for that brand. So I don't think that this possibility is too far off. From there, going into Money in the Bank, post Money in the Bank, going into SummerSlam, now the Shield is still together, and obviously you can have Dean Ambrose, Seth, and AJ still having their one-on-one matches with AJ each week, where AJ is obviously either defending the title or taking them on in non-title matches to keep the angle between the Authority and the Shield alive. And I think the first member that AJ should beat would actually be Dean Ambrose. And then I think that can lead to a match where Seth Rollins wants his shot at the belt. And I think obviously this could be one that's very hyped up and people really look forward to because it's 2 extremely gifted wrestlers who are both great high flyers, especially back then. And this could be a match that honestly, even if it's on a Raw or a SmackDown, should still be given 30 minutes, and it could definitely be a back and forth affair. But again, it still would end with AJ getting the victory with a Styles Clash, and now he's beaten both Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. He's taken down 2 members of the Shield, solidifying himself as a top star, but also solidifying himself as the top member of the Authority, and this is why Triple H brought him in. From there, going into SummerSlam, you can have John Cena wanting his rematch with AJ Styles. So instead of the birth of Suplex City, we wouldn't get that. Instead, for the main event of SummerSlam 2014, you would have the champion AJ Styles taking on John Cena in a rematch. Considering maybe Cena obviously feels or that he got screwed out of his chance to win the belt by the Authority, or he deserves one more match to get another reign in. From there, I think it's honestly a big anticipation for the match, but I think this is where the real star-making moment for AJ Styles happens. He's already beaten him at Money in the Bank for the belt, and now I think he should beat Cena again. just like he did in 2016 when there was that huge endorsement for the company where he beat Cena clean at SummerSlam in 2016. This time he would do it 2 years early. And with a phenomenal forearm, he would pin John Cena to retain his undisputed title and again be established as the face that ran the place for the company for both Raw and SmackDown, because there wasn't split brands at this time, and as the top heel in the company. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I just wanted to cover that section of time where AJ Styles debuts a week after WrestleMania, and then obviously while debuting as a face, goes through his heel turn and takes Seth's spot as the crown jewel of the Authority and the lead man. And then, of course, becomes champion by defeating John Cena. Holds victories over Dean Ambrose and Seth, like I mentioned, even though there's one member of the Shield I didn't have a feud with yet. And then, of course, gets his big staple victory in the rematch over John Cena. So let me know what you guys think of that. Let me know how you think it could have played out had AJ joined the company in 2014. And let me know if you think him joining the Authority and being the lead heel was possible. Special thanks again to my friend Tommy Butler for this suggestion. Definitely keep your suggestions coming. I'll definitely be hitting all of them in due time, as I'm determined to start recording these and also getting episodes up more consistently. And I appreciate everyone's feedback at all times, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. So till the next one, leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe, it helps the algorithm. And I'll be back soon with more topics of what could have been in wrestling. Take care, guys.